That same little turtle.
So what we're going to do is talking about the doctor.
3, 2, 1. Yes.
Good afternoon. This is Mr. Ben here from the NuMinds Vaults, and I have a very special challenge for everyone today, and it has to do with one of my pets. Actually, it's not my personal pet. He's a pet of the NuMinds team. We have many. This guy. This guy look familiar to anybody? Probably not, because he has, some features that we don't normally associate with his family. But this is Nelson Jr. That's his name, Nelson Jr. And he is the grandson of, can you guess? Do you know who Nelson Jr. is related to? Yeah, Godzilla. Godzilla himself. Okay? So, a very, very misunderstood creature, by the way. Does Godzilla scare you? You guys, Godzilla from the Godzilla movies? Classic Japanese cinema. He's a monster of the big screen going way, way back. Of course, they've made some modern movie versions as well. And those are pretty intense. But he was like, I remember when I was a kid, it was already an old movie when I was a kid. And I would watch on the big screen, I would watch Godzilla, and it was intense. And he would be, trudging and tromping through cities and destroying buildings and breathing fire, and everyone would be running in terror. Kind of like this. I want to show you a footage from an old Godzilla, Nelson Jr.'s grandfather. Okay? So, let's take a look at some old classic Godzilla footage. I think you guys are going to like this. It's not too scary. Okay, here we go. You ready? This is Nelson Jr.'s great grandfather. Oh my goodness. Oh, the tail tangled up in electrical lines, smashing buildings. Oh my goodness, Godzilla. Here he goes. Oh no, a bridge. Please. Okay, thank goodness I did not see the car. Ah! An entire road just collapsed. Did you guys see that part? Amazing. We won't watch the whole thing again. But I want to talk about this a little bit. That is the image that most of us have of Godzilla. And can you blame us for being scared out of our wits from this family, right? Now this, you would think, would be enough to put tear into our very bones, right? But here's a little secret that many people do not realize, and that is that Godzilla and the Godzilla family is extremely misunderstood. You remember from that footage we just watched how Godzilla was kind of like trudging through the city, knocking over buildings with his tail, breathing fire, shredding electrical lines? Well, guess what is really going on with Godzilla? And I didn't know this until I was an adult, so I was scared too. Godzilla has a special condition where he gets extremely low blood sugar if he doesn't eat. And he gets so grouchy that he gets a little brain fog and he doesn't even realize what he's doing. Do you know what's happening when he goes trudging through the cities? he's actually looking for something to eat. He's like out of his mind. He's got brain fog from being so hungry. He's actually a super nice and sensitive guy. He doesn't want to hurt anybody at all. He's just looking for food. And when he gets grouchy, he goes into the city because he can smell all those great restaurants, right? So he is trudging through the city, turning. He thinks he smells something over there, so he turns. What does his tail do when he turns? He knocks over a building. He turns the other way. He hits Mr. Ben in the face. No, he knocks over another building, right? And on and on. And guess what happens when he gets really hungry? His stomach acid actually churns up so high that he breathes some fire. All right? Now, most of us see that fire breathing and we think, oh my gosh, he's out to get us. He's out to like blowtorch us. But it's not the case. He's just so hungry. It's a chemical reaction having to do with his stomach acid. It's like acid reflux to infinity for Godzilla, right? So little Nelson Jr., luckily he has a home at NuMinds where we kind of understand, and we've kind of catered our office and our space to him, and by understanding where he's coming from, we were able to build a space where he feels safe, right? So that's what I need some help from you guys with today is, for number one, can we just work on understanding what Godzilla's really feeling before we judge him? Because so often we just see an expression or make an assumption based on something that we notice about a person without really knowing, like below the surface, what's going on. First, you know what? Let's practice. Can we practice like looking at some monster expressions and guessing what they're feeling? That might help us when it comes to Godzilla, when it comes to Nelson Jr., and just really kind of having the emotional intelligence to be able to look at someone and kind of see what they're feeling, where they're coming from, and then understanding, we can choose how we react to this and not make assumptions. Will you guys take a little practice run with me and reading some monster emotions? So I got this cool little monster chart. And by the way, teachers or parents or kiddos, if there's a link in the comments already, I see NuMinds admin already posted that up with a short little presentation that you guys can get your own copy of these. So let's take a look. All right, here we go. So we are looking right now at Godzilla's. Look at this. Can you imagine a more misunderstood? Look at that's an early version of Godzilla with his friend. I don't know her name, but does he look vicious there? Does he look like he's about to breathe fire or swallow her whole? I don't think so. He's a sensitive, understanding guy with an eating issue, with a, physiological issue when he gets hungry. So let's help him out. Okay? Let's go into presentation mode so you guys can see even better. Okay, quiz number 1. I got some monsters here that are feeling some different things, and I need a little help. I've got 4 monsters here. I'll put my cursor on the one that I'm looking at and thinking about. I'm gonna take my time sort of pondering what they might be feeling, but go ahead and chime in. If you're live right now, or even if you're watching the video, just go ahead and say it out loud. If you're with some friends or siblings or schoolmates or with your parents, just go ahead and say out loud which emotion you think each monster is feeling. Look at this one. What do you think? Excited? Yeah, I think I heard someone say excited. I think I agree. You could definitely interpret that one as excited. Or, another, you know what? Now that I think about it, that almost makes me want to yawn. And you know how they say that yawning is contagious? So I'm thinking that first one could be sleepy. Okay? What about number 2? Based on that one eye and that straight top eyelid, I'm almost thinking like grumpy, like angry. Okay, what about this guy, lower left corner? What do you guys think? Definitely excited. I can tell from the open mouth that's upturned, the wide open eye, and also look at the hands kind of out. The hands are part of this as well, right? And this last one, why does that one make me go, well, number 1, he's fuzzy, and he's got the little cute eyes. But why does he make me want to go, kind of like hold him and hug him and comfort him? I think it's because he's a little scared. That's how I interpret that. How'd you guys do on that practice run? Should we do a few more? I think we should do a few more. So here. Okay, this round. Okay, I'm going to start on the left side. What do you think about that guy? Wow. There's lots of, by the way, there's not necessarily one right answer. It's about kind of practicing. And, Mr. Justin always talks about assuming the best. Okay. Mr. T chimed in. He said the green one on the last screen looked to be oxygen deprived. Let me go back. Yes, that's true. So maybe that's why he's sad or scared and sad. Okay. So this guy in the upper left on this side, happy, confident, right? Confident. How about let's say confident? I like that. This guy, not amused, right? What's another word for not amused? Maybe bored, Yeah, like not having it really, like he's had enough. What about this guy here? Let's see. Happy. Surprised, maybe? What do you think about that one? Shocked, surprised? Maybe scared, right? Who knows? Okay, let's move over to this one. There's a few more. And what I'll do is, you have a copy of this. So I'm going to let you and whoever you're with, whether it's one of your parents, maybe it's your grandparents or a brother or sister, I'm going to let you do your best to kind of look at those and see what you think about reading those emotions. And that's really important. During this time that we've been at home, has happened in your house that you're living in that sometimes emotions have gotten really strong? I'm sure it has if you're a human, because it happens even to monsters, and humans are known to have just as many emotions, if not more, than monsters. So I bet it's happened to you that emotions have gotten really strong, and that could be really positive emotions, like feeling super excited, and also some negative ones. Like, have you felt, during this time at home, have you felt cramped or stuck or trapped at all? Like, man, I just want to go run in the open air. I think we've all felt that at some point over the last few weeks. And so being able to understand that these emotions that come up from us are natural. They're part of like how we're wired as humans, right? We have emotions that kind of give us information about how we're reacting with the environment, just like monsters. So I want to cut back and talk a little bit about Nelson Jr. now, because now is when I need your help with Nelson Jr., okay? So Nelson Jr., here's the deal. We have discovered at NuMinds that there's a way to prevent Nelson Jr. from like having his breakdowns and tromping through the city. And it has to do with a little nutritional pellet that if we place these in the right places in the city, and the Godzillas can access them and chomp them when they need, they won't have those breakdowns. And we can actually build Godzilla-friendly cities. Why does it have to be that cities and Godzillas don't go together, right? We have the power to engineer and build so many incredible things in the world. Why can't we build a city that's Godzilla-friendly? And we found a way to do it. It has to do with these pellets. So here's the help I need today. Can you help me build a special skyscraper that does a couple of things? Number one, it holds a pellet. It holds a pellet just at the right height so that as Godzilla is walking through the city, he or she can chomp on their food pellet. They get all the nutrition they need. It's like a little smoothie sphere. We'll call it the smoothie sphere of the future that we know gives Godzilla, gives Nelson Jr. everything he needs from a nutritional point of view. It calms all his blood sugar issues. His grouchiness does not act up. It's perfect, right? It's nutrition. And that's number one. Number two, the skyscraper you build, can it be so stable that when the ground shakes, because even if he doesn't mean to, when Nelson walks, the ground kind of shakes and wobbles like an earthquake. So can it be so stable, your skyscraper, that when Nelson walks through the city and the ground shakes a little bit on accident, your building's okay? All right. So the double challenge there. Your skyscraper has to be at the right height to hold the pellet for Nelson as he walks by. And it has to be stable enough that when the ground shakes, it doesn't rock. Now, what can we use to build our tower? That's the beautiful thing. We're being engineers today, so there's lots of options. I'm going to show you a few different options, and you can use whatever you have. If you're doing this in your house, and you're watching this video later, you can pause it right now and go look for any of these things that I'm going to mention, or even some that I'm not mentioning, because that's the beautiful thing. You just have, the main thing here is not following some instructions or a blueprint. It's about solving the problem. And I've already explained the problem. The question is, can we solve it? Okay. So I'm going to show you, we have these cool things that NuMinds we use called zone tools. Now, they're really amazing. And I know most people don't have them at home, but I'm just going to show them because they might be a cool thing that we could use to build our skyscraper for Nelson. So they come with these sticks and these balls. Okay. We call the sticks struts actually. Okay. And what happens is each strut has a little shape at the tip. Okay. It's hard to see, but that one's a pentagon. And then there are little shapes inside the hole that the different struts fit in. And when you combine these in different ways, you can build these really cool 3D shapes. Do you know what I mean by 3D? Yeah? Like if you go to a 3D movie, what's special about a 3D movie? It's like, huh? It's like it's jumping out at you, right? It's almost like you're in it, you know? Well, 3D stands for 3 dimensions, okay? And the opposite of 3D, or different than 3D, is 2D, 2 dimensions. So something with 2 dimensions is flat, right? It only has length and width. No, length, height, width, and length are the 3 things, the 3 dimensions, right? So first of all, I pre-built a couple of things for us to look at. So you see this? Okay. First, I have a question for you. What shape is just the front here? What do we call that when it's just 2 dimensions? 1, 2. What is that? It's a square, right? You knew that in pre-K. I know. I'm not trying to be silly. I'm just making sure you had time to think about it. So yeah, you're right. That's a square. What do we call it when it's 3D like this? So it's not just 1, 2, but it's also 3 dimensions. What's the official name for that? You guys remember? Yeah, a cube. Okay, so a cube. So we have a square and a cube. Okay, what about this? Just the flat shape first. Okay, what do you call that? A triangle. Yes, this is not pre-steam. Pre-steam's on Fridays at 1. Okay, that's okay. It's always good to review, right? Everything we know is built on what we learned in pre-K and kindergarten, friends. So don't look down on pre-K. Everything, it's the root of everything we know. Okay. What do we call it when it's a 3D shape like this, though? Okay. Yeah, you might call it a pyramid. And that's the 3D. That's the 3D shape. And pyramids have different names based on the shape of the base. So if this is our base here, that's a triangle. So we call this a triangular pyramid. Okay. The reason I'm bringing all this up is because we have to think about what shapes might be good to use to build Nelson's tower, right? So we could start with a cube. We could start with a pyramid or triangles or squares. I'm kind of wondering, I want my skyscraper to be really strong so that that Nelson doesn't accidentally knock it over. I wonder which shape is the strongest. That's one question I have. And I'm thinking about famous bridges I've seen and famous buildings, and now I'm trying to imagine what shapes I see, because those are built to survive earthquakes. But I want to stop for a minute, because what if you don't have zone tools available? What else can you use? And I said anything. Well, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I could, if I have some straws and what's this? Play-Doh. Clay, Play-Doh, whatever. The brand doesn't matter, obviously. And how does that work? Well, the Play-Doh takes the place of the balls, and the straws take the place of the struts. And look at that. What I can do is just make my own connections, and before you know it, I can build triangles. And then what happens? After I build a flat triangle, I can turn it into what did we turn this one into? A pyramid? Okay, so it works for straws and Play-Doh. All right, what if I don't have Play-Doh? I don't have straws. You know, a lot of people may not have, 25 straws sitting around the house. Okay, how about popsicle sticks? You got popsicle sticks somewhere? Maybe one of your parents has like a craft room or something, or for whatever reason, you saved these from last summer. Okay, let's say I've got popsicle sticks and how about this? Clothespins. What can we do with that, Mr. Ben? Okay, let's take the clothespins and use them to kind of pinch like that. Take another one. Here, I'm going to angle down like this. You guys can kind of see my work surface a little bit, okay? So, there's so many crazy things we can do. I'm going to build the opposite on the other side. Okay? And then those two connect like that. Okay, now what? Well, more clothespins. So, yeah, is this a little more tricky than having pre-made zone tools or straws? Yeah, sure. But hey, remember what I said? It's about solving the problem. So that's the important thing. What else? Toothpicks? Toothpicks on the supply list for today. I even put gumdrops. So toothpicks and gumdrops, connecting those to make the shapes. The important thing is this. We have to figure out how to get our structure to hold the nutritional pellet for Nelson at the right height. Okay? So that's, that in itself is a challenge because we have to get the sphere in place steady. So the building has to stand on its own. Let me show you our requirements for the challenge. Okay, so here's our construction challenge. It says, can you create a Godzilla-friendly skyscraper that holds one of his nutritional pellets? The skyscraper must stand on its own, hold the pellet at the height of Godzilla's mouth, and stay stable in the earthquake as Godzilla approaches. Huh. What do you guys think? Can you handle that? Can you build something? Of course you can. Of course you can. I've seen hundreds of kids build towers that solve this problem. And here's what's beautiful. Everyone is unique. Everyone is unique. It doesn't matter what material they're using. Sometimes there's Godzillas that are taller or shorter. The student engineers, just like you, always adapt to the situation and create a solution. And that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I would love to see photos or even videos of the challenge, the way you solve the challenge. So create your structure. And, by the way, this is a ping pong ball, but, of course you can use whatever. If you have a golf ball, make it a tennis ball. If you don't have anything like that, but you have a marble, make it a marble. It's part of your imagination as well, because what is that representing? It's the nutritional pellet that kind of keeps Nelson Jr. or Godzilla satisfied. Okay? Does that make sense, everybody? So that is this activity. It's not about me showing you how to do it. It was about setting up the story so that you can own it and get in it. So let's go back so I can wrap it up for you. So in review, we have a really, really misunderstood monster named Nelson. This is Nelson Jr. Nelson Sr. is actually at the NuMinds office now, kind of like keeping guard. So he couldn't come today. Your job is to create a Nelson-friendly, a Godzilla-friendly skyscraper that meets those requirements. We have so many different materials to use. We've got a link to our monster photo so you can practice reading the monster emotions. That link is in the comments. And I can't wait to see some photos of how all you brilliant STEAM engineers out there solve this problem. Let us see what you do. We'll feature you on a future show. And who knows, you might be the next great engineer in a Godzilla-friendly world. All right, kiddos. NuMinds TV is the home of real inspired learning. Pursue your passions, whether that's engineering or psychology or both together, and they'll become your talents. All right, folks, we'll see you. This was episode 22 of From the Vault, and we'll tune in tomorrow to NuMinds TV for more exciting STEAM.